Welcome. After having understood how we need to write the proposal, we're going to go specifically into section 8 and we're going to discuss with Mr. Shavla what needs to be included in the literature review and rational study section. Could you please help me here a little bit and tell me what I need to include in this section 8?
Sure. We can work through this and we can look at some examples together as well. But the most important thing that we want to see in section 8 is your justification for why your research topic is worthy of pursuit.
Okay.
The other things that we're also looking for in this section is that you show us appreciation of previous studies that have been done within your research discipline. It's very important. It's not a clever idea to reinvent the wheel. So before you go ahead, forge ahead with your own study, you want to be well informed as to what has already been found out within your specific discipline. So it's important to read theoretical works, books, journal articles, conference papers, for example. Those are the kind of works that we would like to see as a part of section 8 of your proposal.
Okay, the 3 R's again, right? Read, read, read.
They will come back all the time.
All the time, all right. I understand. So that's the rational study, looking at the literature, what has been written around it. But how exactly do I structure that chapter?
Yes, it's very important that you adopt a structured approach to this. And there are 5 subsections that we would like to recommend you have within the introduction chapter. So under chapter 8, section 8 of your proposal, we could probably put them down as 8.1, 8.2, 8.3 and organize your thoughts in that sense.
Okay.
The first one, it will be some kind of a background to the study. And again, this is important because you should be thinking that you are writing your proposal for a non-specialist audience. Somebody who is unlikely to know much as far as your research topic is concerned. I remember you mentioned that you might want to pursue your study somewhere within social media marketing. Now, you will know a lot about this topic because you're passionate, you're reading around this. But then your examiner may not always know that much as you do. So it's very important that you provide some kind of a backdrop to the study. When did social media marketing start? Who were the first pioneers? What were the initial studies saying about social media marketing? How is it flourishing in the more modern times? So in this sense, your reader will have a broad understanding of your research topic.
All right, so kind of defining social media for businesses, explaining the impact that it has, how people are using it.
Yes,
kind of this.
Absolutely. Those are the kind of things you could place within the background. You could also talk about how many social media platforms are there, what is the usage like, what is the traffic coming along to these ones. All of these will help the reader understand the importance of social media within the specific context of hospitality in your case.
Okay. So everybody would be talking around, yeah. If my friend is doing CSR, typically he would be giving a background explanation of what CSR is and its importance.
Absolutely. Probably even take a step back from there, and they might even start from study of ethics, for example, which goes back a couple of thousand years from today, and then how that evolved into sustainability and now corporate social responsibility in the more modern times. And that takes you to the second section of the proposal, which is a problem statement.
Okay.
In here, you're trying to define if there is a gap in knowledge. Based on some of the readings that you would have done, you might have identified that readings are taking you in a certain way, and there is some aspect that has not been identified so far. For an example, in case of social media marketing, you might have seen that a lot of people have spoken to the managers in hotels, but not much has been done as far as customers' view on how do they absorb the content of social media.
I'm doing a dissertation, so as a dissertation, what I want to do here is I explain how Facebook is important, or how many hotels and organizations and brands are using Facebook as a communication. However, from everything I've read so far, there's very little evidence that it's actually working, especially in hospitality. There's a lot of hotels. So that's what I would be stating, right? I would be stating all the research paper with their conclusions, and kind of identify what is currently unknown and then what I want to actually investigate.
Absolutely.
For the IBP, there's not that much theory, correct? A lot of my friends are doing like a Western feasibility studies. So that's where they would talk about why that area, or Montreux, or why Jakarta, or Tokyo, or wherever they are, why this is a good good chance for an opportunity or a problem or an issue for them to investigate.
Sure.
Right?
Or there could be more than that as well. I mean, they might have a concept in mind which is novel for that part of the world that you're introducing. I don't know, molecular astronomy in an area which has not been touched so far, and therefore it is a novel idea as far as that part of the world is concerned.
And that will go here.
That will go.
Then after that, we have section 3. I looked in the proposal purpose and significance of study. Can you help me here, please?
In here, you are trying to convince the reader once again, as far as the benefit or the value of your study is concerned. Who exactly do you think will gain something by helping you in your study, by reading your study? And think of different stakeholders, including yourself, because this is a big project that you're undertaking independently. What exactly do you anticipate you will get out of doing this project? Could you make some contribution to the organization who is helping you to gain your primary data? Could your findings be of interest to the wider world of hospitality, for instance? Could you make some theoretical contributions whereby the work that you're doing could extend our knowledge within academia as well? So in here, you should be thinking about different people who are involved in your research and what might they gain through your study.
So why is my study worth doing? And what people will get out of reading it, right?
Absolutely.
Theoretical framework.
That will be the fourth section of your introduction chapter. And in here, again, going back to what was mentioned earlier, that you are writing your proposal for a non-specialist audience. So it's very important that if you're using technical terminology in your study, that not everybody is expected to know. It's important that you define what those terms might be. It is important that if you're going to choose one or two theories, which will then be a big part of your literature review chapter later on, then you introduce those theories very briefly in this section as well. Basically, what you're doing in here is you're guiding the reader through the process and you're telling him or her that this is what to expect in the following chapters and why do you prefer to use those theories compared to others.
I've chosen the 5-step framework from Burnoff and Lee. I just present it and explain that I want to use it and why.
With a very brief justification, why this might be more applicable for your study.
No, it makes sense. And then moving on, contextual boundaries. That is a very difficult word.
It actually means you have to in some way inform the reader where your study will take place. So if you might have chosen a certain geographical location, tell the reader why. If you've chosen a certain organization, one brand or one unit, one property, one event, for instance, then again inform the reader on what basis did you select that one organization. And again, try and avoid making any personal statements in here saying it was convenient for me because I've done an internship here and I've got easy access to primary data. But something which is more substantial than that, and you need to inform the reader why this particular case is ideal.
So if I get access to the Montreux Palace, for example, this is where I would explain why I believe that this organization is the best fit to achieve my aims and objective, right? Absolutely. I need to keep that. Should I talk here about the history of the hotel?
No. You don't need to go into those lengthy descriptions. Instead, what we might be more interested in is the usage of social media marketing in Montreux Palace, rather than you talking about how many rooms they've got, how old the building is, and so on and so forth. That doesn't really make much.
So just how they're using Facebook and kind of who it is talking to, how well they're doing so far, how often they post, kind of introduction of the organization.
And that again helps the reader to understand where you're coming from as well. For
an IBP, in previous video you explained me already that essentially it's the same document that we need to do whether we do a dissertation or an IBP.
Yes.
And section 8 as well, is it exactly the same or is there a difference?
Essentially the contents of section 8 will remain the same whether you're doing a dissertation or an IBP. There might be a slight difference in the second subsection where we speak about the problem statement. Because in here in an IBP, you might be looking at a real organization problem. You might be looking at a problem of customer complaints, for an example. You might be investigating a service bottleneck, for an instance. You might be looking at the issue of staff turnover, for an instance. So you might be looking at a real organization problem or an opportunity that you've got a concept for yourself that you want to do a pre-feasibility of. So the way you will argue the problem statement in here is not going to be looking at a gap in knowledge, which is more for dissertation student, but a real problem within a real organization in the real world of work.
And do they have to talk about theories as well? Because section 4 is about the theoretical framework. Do they also have theories to talk about?
There will be some element of theory support also, although there will be a lot of focus and a lot of emphasis on the environmental review also, which is something that will be explained in a later video. But some kind of theoretical grounding will also be important for IBP students. It may not be 2 or 3 different theoretical positions, but maybe just one. But yes, that is going to be an integral part of the IBP introduction as well.
All right, thank you. That's great. Thank you. Any final recommendations for me? Oh, I know I need to read.
Yes.
You don't have to tell me again. I think read. I see it in my mind right now. But otherwise, what else can you tell me?
The important part in doing this section well is that if you do a good job with your section 8 in the proposal, this then can by all means become the introduction chapter of your final piece of work as well. So it's important that you get this one right, because you're already now constructing your dissertation or your IBP.
Okay.
You can use all of the material that you've got.
Oh, there will be no plagiarism for that.
It's your own work,
Okay.
essentially. Of course, you'll have more word count when you're writing your final piece of work as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be an expectation, again, based on the feedback from your supervisor, that certain parts might be changed, they might be developed further.
Mm-hmm.
But you have done the foundational work. The groundwork is already there. If you've done
So if
the
my
job.
work is perfect, I just could actually take that section 8 and put it in my...
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. So it's worth doing a good job already here.
Absolutely, because you're already doing one important chapter of your final dissertation or IBP.
Oh, that sounds good. Right. Thank you, Mr. Shabra.
Thank you very much once again. Thanks for your time.
So that's it for this video. We've explained in detail exactly how you need to build your chapter 8 for both dissertation and IBP. The next video will then bring you to section 9, where we'll go around how you need to write your methodological choices. Thank you very much. Have a great day.